The evening rush at Seoul Central Hospital was pure chaos. Doctors running, nurses shouting patient updates, and stretchers rolling through bright corridors. Among the whirl of white coats, a young woman stood out, Purity Mensah, a 25-year-old Ghanaian nurse, recently employed at the hospital. Her soft accent, glowing brown skin, and calm smile drew attention even in the busiest ward. It was her first week on the job, and though she worked tirelessly, she felt invisible. That changed the moment she literally bumped into Dr. Han Jae-suk, the most popular and powerful doctor in South Korea. Everyone in Seoul knew his name, the billionaire surgeon, heir to Han Med Group, with piercing gray eyes and a reputation for perfection. He was a man who never smiled, whose cold brilliance intimidated even senior consultants. But that day, fate had other plans. Purity was balancing a tray of patient files when she turned a corner too fast and collided right into him. The files scattered like snow. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry," she gasped, bending to pick them up. Jae-suk looked down at her, clearly annoyed. But when their eyes met, his expression faltered. Her nervous eyes were wide, and her accent soft as she stammered apologies. Something about her felt different. "It's fine," he muttered, helping her gather the papers. "You're new." "Yes, Dr. Han. I just started this week." Before she could say another word, loud heels echoed behind them. Yuna, the elegant daughter of a major investor, walked up with a bright, fake smile. "Appa," she cooed, looping her arm through his. "You didn't answer my calls. Are you free for dinner tonight?" Jae-suk froze, his jaw tightening. The last thing he wanted was another tabloid headline linking him to Yuna. In desperation, his eyes flicked back to Purity. And before logic caught up with him, he said, "Actually, I'm not free. I'm having dinner with my girlfriend." Yuna blinked. "Girlfriend? Since when?" He smiled a rare, charming smile that stunned both women, and gently placed his hand on Purity's shoulder. "Since now." Purity's mouth fell open. "Excuse me?" Yuna's eyes widened in disbelief. "Her? This nurse?" Jae-suk simply nodded. "Yes, she's special to me." Yuna stormed off, furious. As soon as she was gone, Purity stepped back, blushing furiously. "Dr. Han, what was that?" He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "I'm sorry, I had to say something. Yuna's father is trying to arrange a marriage between us, and I needed a quick way out." "So you made me your girlfriend?" she asked, incredulous. "It's temporary. Just pretend to be my girlfriend for a few weeks, until my family's business dinner is over. I'll make it worth your while." She frowned. "You want to pay me?" He nodded. "Yes, handsomely." Purity shook her head. "I'm not for sale, Dr. Han, but I'll help you. Just this once." That was how their pretend love story began. A deal sealed not with money, but with quiet understanding. To make their act convincing, Jae-suk began driving Purity home after her shifts. They shared coffee during breaks, sometimes laughing over small things. The hospital staff started whispering. The cold billionaire doctor was seen smiling, even laughing, whenever the Ghanaian nurse was around. One evening, during a hospital charity gala, Purity arrived in a simple blue dress. The moment Jae-suk saw her, he forgot how to breathe. Cameras flashed, people stared, but he only saw her. He leaned closer and whispered, "You're breathtaking." She blushed. "Dr. Han, people are watching." "Let them," he said softly, wrapping an arm around her waist for the cameras. The act began to feel too real. The way he looked at her wasn't for show anymore. The way she smiled up at him wasn't forced. After the gala, he walked her to his car, holding her hand longer than necessary. "Purity," he murmured. "I know this started as pretend, but it doesn't feel like pretending anymore." She looked up at him, heart pounding. "Are you saying?" He stepped closer, eyes tender now. "I'm saying I'm falling for you." For a moment, silence. Only the sound of Seoul's night traffic around them. Then Purity whispered, "Me too." He smiled, truly smiled, before pulling her close, kissing her softly under the hospital's glowing lights. Their fake love had turned into something real. After that night, beneath the soft glow of Seoul Central's lights, everything between Dr. Han Jae-suk and Purity Mensah changed. They were still the hospital's best-kept secret, except everyone could feel it. The billionaire doctor who once spoke in clipped tones now carried a quiet gentleness whenever Purity was near. And Purity, who used to hurry through corridors avoiding eye contact, now walked with a small, knowing smile. Every morning, they met at the nurse's station. Purity would hand him patient charts, and his fingers would brush against hers, deliberately slow. "Thank you, Nurse Purity," he would say, voice low, eyes holding hers a second too long. "You're welcome, Dr. Han," she'd reply softly, pretending not to notice the warmth spreading in her chest. Their little exchanges became the highlight of the ward. Other nurses giggled quietly when they saw Jae-suk waiting by the elevator just to ride down with her. His usual icy stare replaced by something softer, protective, tender. One rainy night, Purity was covering the emergency ward when a young patient came in crying. Jae-suk appeared minutes later, coat damp, hair messy, still wearing his expensive wristwatch but no trace of arrogance. "I heard you were on night duty," he said, handing her a cup of hot coffee. "You shouldn't skip dinner again." She smiled. "Are you checking on your patients or on me?" He stepped closer, lowering his voice. "You." Her heart skipped. The dim lights reflected on his eyes as he leaned just slightly forward, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "You've worked hard. Let me take you home after your shift." That night, in the hospital parking lot, he opened the car door for her. A small gesture, but filled with unspoken affection. He didn't let go of her hand the entire ride. Their favorite place became the hospital rooftop, quiet, with a view of Seoul's skyline glittering in the distance. Between surgeries and shifts, they would sneak there for coffee breaks. "Do you ever regret pretending with me?" he asked one afternoon, leaning against the railing, the wind tousling his hair. Purity smiled, sipping her latte. "It stopped being pretend a long time ago." He reached out, taking her hand. "You changed my world, Purity. Before you, all I saw was ambition. Now I see warmth." She looked at him, eyes soft. "And you taught me that even in the busiest hospital, the heart still finds time to heal and love." He kissed her then, gently, under the open sky, his hand resting on her cheek. Soon everyone knew. Doctors teased, nurses smiled, and patients whispered, "That's Dr. Han and his beautiful nurse." When she passed by, he would look up from his tablet just to watch her. Sometimes he'd leave tiny notes for her. "Don't skip breakfast. You look tired. Meet me on the rooftop." Or simply, "Miss you." Once, during a chaotic ER shift, Purity accidentally cut her finger while dressing a wound. Before anyone could blink, Jae-suk was there, gently taking her hand. "Doctor, I'm fine." "Don't say that." He cleaned the small cut himself, his brow furrowed. "You heal everyone else, but let me heal you for once." The other nurses melted, silently at the scene. After work, they'd sometimes stay late in his office, sharing takeout noodles, medical notes spread around, music playing softly. She'd rest her head on his shoulder while he reviewed reports. "You're supposed to be working," she'd tease. "I am," he'd whisper, kissing her forehead. "You're my favorite case." Their laughter would echo through the sterile walls, turning the once cold hospital into a place of warmth and love. The days that followed felt like a dream neither of them wanted to wake from. The hospital, once filled only with the sound of beeping monitors and rushing footsteps, now carried something warmer. The quiet rhythm of two hearts learning to beat together in the midst of duty and chaos. Their romance, though beautiful, was still forbidden. Seoul Central had a strict policy. No workplace relationships between senior staff and subordinates. And yet, they couldn't help it. Every shared glance across the ward, every smile exchanged during handover meetings, became a secret conversation. But rumors travel fast. One afternoon, Chief Administrator Lee, a stern man in his 50s, summoned Jae-suk to his office. "Dr. Han," he began, adjusting his glasses, "I've been hearing talk about you and the new Ghanaian nurse. You know our policy. Jae-suk met his gaze calmly. I know, but I won't deny it. The administrator sighed. Your family won't be happy, nor will the board. You have everything to lose. Jae-suk's voice softened. And I'm willing to lose everything but her. Outside the office, Purity waited anxiously. When he finally stepped out, she asked, What happened? He smiled faintly, taking her hand. They warned me, but I told them the truth. I love you. Her heart fluttered. You really said that? He nodded. Let them make their rules. You're worth breaking them. A week later, Purity finished a long shift and went to her locker, only to find a folded note with her name written in his familiar handwriting. When she arrived, the rooftop had been transformed. Fairy lights framed the railing. A small table sat in the center with 2 glasses of champagne and covered trays of her favorite Korean dishes. Kimchi fried rice, sweet bulgogi, and fried plantain, which he had specially requested from the hospital cafeteria just for her. Jae-suk, she breathed, stunned. He stepped out from the shadows, wearing a soft smile instead of his usual cold expression. You once told me hospitals are where love dies. I want to prove you wrong. She laughed, blinking back tears. You didn't have to do all this. I did, he whispered, cupping her face. Because you've healed me in ways medicine never could. As the night breeze danced around them, he leaned in, kissing her gently, his hands resting on her waist. It wasn't hurried or desperate. It was the kind of kiss that promised forever. The next morning, their happiness was tested. A tabloid had caught them on the rooftop. Their photo splashed across the front page. The hospital was in an uproar. Journalists gathered outside the gate. Purity's locker was filled with notes. Some kind, some cruel. She tried to stay strong, but that night, in the quiet of the nurse's dormitory, she cried softly. When Jae-suk found out, he marched straight into the boardroom the next day. You can remove me from any honorary post, but don't you dare touch her. She's the best nurse this hospital has ever seen. Later, he found her in the break room, eyes swollen from tears. You shouldn't have done that, she whispered. Now everyone will think I used you for your name. He lifted her chin gently. Let them think whatever they want. I know the truth, you didn't use me. You healed me. And when she leaned against his chest, he wrapped his arms around her, resting his chin on her hair. Let's stop hiding, Purity. Let's live openly. Weeks later, the chaos died down. The hospital's board, seeing Jae-suk's unshakable devotion, relented. As long as their relationship didn't interfere with work, they returned to the wards side by side. Doctor and nurse, but more than that, partners. Sometimes he'd walk by her during rounds, murmuring, lunch later. Sometimes she'd leave sticky notes on his desk. Don't forget to eat. Or, you're my favorite doctor. And one evening, under the soft glow of the rooftop lights that had witnessed their first confession, Jae-suk took out a small velvet box. He looked into her eyes, his voice trembling just slightly. You came into my life as a nurse, but you treated more than my patients. You treated my soul. Purity, will you be mine? Beyond these hospital walls, her tears fell freely as she nodded. Yes, Jae-suk, always. He slid the ring onto her finger and whispered, Then my heart has finally found its cure. They kissed again. This time, not in secret, not in fear, but in pure love. Months passed since that rooftop proposal, yet every glance, every touch between Dr. Han Jae-suk and Purity Mensah still felt new. Their love no longer hid in the shadows of Seoul's Central Hospital. Now it bloomed openly, tender, confident, and unashamed. Every day began the same. The smell of coffee, soft sunlight slipping through Jae-suk's penthouse curtains, and Purity's laughter echoing in his kitchen. He loved watching her cook breakfast in one of his oversized shirts, humming Ghanaian tunes that filled the quiet space with joy. Dr. Han, stop staring and help me, she teased, waving a spatula. He chuckled, coming up behind her, arms sliding around her waist. I'm studying my favorite medicine, you. She laughed, shaking her head. You're impossible. He rested his chin on her shoulder. Impossible only for you. Back at the hospital, professionalism returned, but affection lingered between every glance. In surgery, he was focused and sharp. In recovery rooms, she was gentle and reassuring. Yet between tasks, their fingers would brush as they passed instruments or exchanged charts, quiet sparks hidden from everyone's view. During lunch breaks, she sometimes brought him homemade food. "You work too much," she'd say. "And you love me too much," he'd reply with a wink. The staff smiled knowingly whenever they saw them. The once cold doctor now softened by love, the young nurse glowing with happiness. Every Friday, after long shifts, they'd drive out of Seoul to the countryside. They'd sit beneath cherry blossom trees near the Han River, sharing stories about their different worlds. Purity told him about her childhood in Ghana, the scent of rain on red soil, the sound of drums during festivals. He listened, captivated, tracing circles on her palm as she spoke. Then he'd tell her about his late mother, a nurse who taught him compassion before ambition hardened his heart. "You brought her back to me," he said softly one evening. "You remind me of the warmth I forgot existed." She smiled, resting her head on his chest. "And you remind me that even the strongest hearts can still need healing." One night, Purity was called in for an emergency. A child who'd been in an accident. Jae-suk, already home, rushed back to assist. They worked side by side, exhaustion forgotten. When the boy finally stabilized, Purity slumped into a chair, trembling from adrenaline. Jae-suk knelt before her, taking her hand. "You did amazing," he said quietly. "I thought we'd lose him," she whispered. He lifted her hand to his lips. "Not when you're around. You save people, including me." She smiled faintly, eyes glistening. "You know, sometimes love feels like medicine too." He brushed her tears away. "Then you're my cure." On Sundays, they turned off their phones, escaping to a small book cafe near the hospital. He'd read Korean poetry to her. She'd try to translate a few lines into Chui, making him laugh with her accent. Sometimes, they'd just sit in silence, her head on his shoulder, his hand tracing small hearts on her wrist. Love didn't have to be grand. It was in these quiet, ordinary moments, the kind that made time stand still. One night, lying beneath the city lights on his rooftop garden, Purity asked softly, "Do you ever think about the future?" He smiled, tightening his hold around her. "Every day, I see a house near the coast, you in the garden, me trying to cook and failing. Maybe 2 kids. And peace." She giggled. "You cooking? That I have to see." He kissed her forehead. "Then stay forever and see everything." Purity looked into his eyes, heart full. "Forever sounds perfect, Dr. Han." He pulled her close, the night sky glowing above them, soul humming quietly below. 2 souls from different worlds bound by something pure and unstoppable. The soft hum of soul at dawn filled their apartment. Purity woke to find Jae-suk already up, staring out the window with a mug of coffee in hand. She wrapped a blanket around him from behind. "You didn't sleep?" she asked softly. He smiled, turning to face her. "I was thinking about us." She tilted her head, teasing. "That's dangerous. Doctors shouldn't overthink." He chuckled. "Then maybe it's my heart talking, not my head." He set down the cup, took her hands in his. "You've made every part of my life softer, Purity. I don't want this to end." Her breath caught. "It won't." "Then marry me. Not someday soon." She looked at him, eyes filling. "You're serious?" "Deadly," he said, smiling. "Let's make our worlds one." Their engagement spread through Seoul like wildfire. Headlines changed from scandal to admiration. The billionaire doctor and his healer. But for them, the wedding wasn't about glamour. Purity wanted it simple, with meaning. They decided on 2 ceremonies, one in Ghana, one in Korea. Weeks later, they flew to Accra. The air was warm and thick with the scent of hibiscus. Purity's family welcomed Jae-suk with music, laughter, and curious eyes. He wore traditional Kent, a little awkward at first, but Purity's laughter made him relax. The ceremony glowed with color. Drums beating, women dancing, children laughing. Jae-suk presented the bride price with deep respect, gold, silk, and a small stethoscope pendant he'd designed for her. Purity's mother blessed them both. May your hearts heal together. That night, under Ghana's stars, Jae-suk whispered, "Your country feels alive, just like you." She smiled. "Now it's yours too." Back in Seoul, their second wedding was elegant and intimate. Cherry blossoms lined the garden, and Purity walked down the aisle in a simple white dress that made every breath catch. When Jae-suk saw her, his usually calm face broke into tears. "You're my forever cure," he whispered when he took her hands. "And you're my peace," she replied. They exchanged vows beneath a soft shower of petals, sealing them with a kiss that felt like sunrise. Quiet, certain, eternal. Married life brought a new rhythm. Mornings of laughter, evenings of shared meals, and weekends spent volunteering at rural clinics. Purity started a small outreach program for migrant nurses, while Jae-suk used his wealth to open a free children's ward, the Mensahan Foundation. Sometimes, after long shifts, they would sit in the empty hospital corridor, hand in hand, watching the city lights outside. He'd whisper, "I used to think saving lives was my purpose, but you taught me. Love is the greatest medicine." She'd smile softly, "And you taught me that even the coldest hearts can learn warmth." A year later, they stood again on that rooftop where it all began, the place of the first lie that became a lifetime truth. Purity placed his hand on her belly and whispered, "We're going to be parents." He froze, then pulled her into his arms, laughing through tears. Our love keeps healing, in every way. Below them, the hospital pulsed with life. Patients, nurses, doctors, all unaware that above them, a story of healing had come full circle. The first rain of spring fell softly over Seoul, tapping against the windows of their home. A quiet rhythm that matched the tiny heartbeat growing inside Purity. Dr. Han Jae-suk had faced countless surgeries, impossible emergencies, and even death itself, but nothing had prepared him for the sound of that first heartbeat during the ultrasound. He squeezed Purity's hand as the doctor smiled at the monitor. "There," the doctor said, "your baby is healthy and strong." Tears filled Jae-suk's eyes, something his colleagues would never believe. He kissed Purity's forehead. "That's our child," he whispered, "the proof that love heals." From that day on, his whole world shifted. He accompanied her to every appointment, learned how to cook Ghanaian soups for her cravings, and even read parenting books at night while she slept on his shoulder. Their home became filled with laughter, lullabies, and the smell of baby powder, the kind of warmth both of them had never known before. When Purity returned to work months later, the hospital welcomed her back with flowers and applause. Now, she works in the pediatrics ward inspired by her own child. And sometimes, Jae-suk would bring Hannah to visit her. The little girl's giggles echoed down the corridors, softening even the coldest days. One afternoon, as Purity cradled a sick child in her arms, Jae-suk watched quietly from the doorway. He saw the same light that had first drawn him to her, the warmth that healed without medicine. Later that night, as they walked home together, he said, "You know, every time I see you with a patient, I fall in love again." She smiled, leaning against him. "And every time I see you holding Hannah, I remember why." Years later, the Mensahan Foundation expanded, now funding children's hospitals in both Korea and Ghana. Together, they became a symbol of compassion beyond borders. Their story was no longer just about a doctor and a nurse. It was about how love, when genuine, could bridge worlds, heal hearts, and build something eternal. And every evening, when the day ended, they still went to their favorite rooftop, where everything began. There, with little Hannah asleep between them, they watched the city lights. Purity whispered, "Do you ever miss the days when it was all a secret?" Jae-suk smiled. "No, because every day with you still feels like our first." He kissed her softly, the night wind dancing around them, carrying laughter, memories, and promises into the stars. Their love, once pretend, had become a lifetime and beyond. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please leave a comment. Also Share and subscribe to my channel and click on the notification icon so that you will get notified whenever a new story is uploaded.